Happy Thanksgiving, y'all. Happy Thanksgiving and welcome to the show. Thanksgiving is not preventing us here from talking about the news, doing the news, having some fun. So most of the stories today are light. However, we will get to, there's a couple serious ones. One of them on Trump's plans for immigration. We have Stephen Miller, a former top advisor to him, coming out and admitting something which is astonishing. And then we'll also get to the U.S. just surpassed another climate threshold, which is cataclysmic, if I'm being honest with you. So outside of that, we have some fun stuff. Bill Burr, his wife gave Donald Trump the finger at a UFC event, and there was this MAGA backlash, and now he has weighed in on that. That's a really interesting story. And then later on in the show, it appears like they found a very, very bizarre, weird cure for depression. The preliminary evidence that we've seen on this new treatment is unbelievable, and you're not going to believe what the treatment is. It sounds like something a toddler made up. But anyway, everybody please do me a big favor. Subscribe to the channel. If you do, it helps us out tremendously, and it doesn't cost you anything. And if you do one thing for the channel, I would deeply appreciate it if it's that. We're trying to grow the community as much as humanly possible. All right, let's go ahead and jump into it here. So Cardi B the other day went viral because she had some strong words about the political situation currently in New York City, but also federally with Biden. So I don't think we're going to get through the whole thing because I think the whole rant is like 10 minutes, but let's go through some of it. You'll get the gist of what she's saying here. Watch this.
Angry bitch right now. I'm an angry bitch right now. I'm an angry bitch. Y'all need to get in here because I'm about to go off right now. Right now. Yeah, I'm about to go off right now. Come on in. Hold up. Oh, y'all outside because usually I be having like 30,000 people by now, but I have 24,000. I need y'all to spread this fucking video. I need y'all to spread this video. And if something happens to me, it's because I'm speaking truth. So God forbid something happens to me or my family or some shit, is because niggas is after me because I'm speaking the truth. And here's the truth, right? In New York, there is a 120 million budget cut. There's a 120 million budget cut in New York that is going to affect schools, public libraries, and the police department. Y'all know I don't give a fuck about the cops, but like it is what it is. There's going to be an $120 million budget cut with schools, with libraries, and the cops, and the police department. And a $5 million budget cut in sanitation. Of a budget cut in sanitation. Bitch, we're going to be drowning with rats. We're going to be drowning in fucking rats. So we are going to be having a budget cut on these shits. Mind you, this is why I said this is why I'm telling y'all, I'm not this year. Don't fucking ask me. I don't give a fuck the resume that they send. I don't give a fuck. I'm not endorsing no fucking presidents no more. Because how is there a $100 million budget cut in New York City for fucking schools, library, police safety, and sanitation? Yeah, Joe Biden's talking about, like, yeah, we could fund two wars. We could fund two wars. Motherfuckers talking about we don't got it, but we got it. Like, we're the greatest nation. No, the fuck we're not. We're going through some shit right now. Like, say it. Say it. We're really going through, we really are fucked right now.
Okay. That was good. That was fun. I enjoyed that. So, look, the right is propping this up because they're like, oh, it's an anti-Biden rant. But it is, but it also is still a lefty rant because the idea is don't cut all this money. And to be fair, it is happening at the city level and the state level. So in other words, the cuts are not from at the federal level or the national level. It's at the state and local level. But her point is, why do you always find money for wars? And then when it comes to like basic stuff that we need, all of a sudden it's budget cuts. And on that front, I think everybody sympathizes with her. So now one of the reasons, maybe the primary reason why Eric Adams in New York is doing the budget cuts is because now there's this massive influx in undocumented immigrants coming to New York. And of course, this was the strategy and the move by red states where they're like, hey man, we're not going to handle all the burden of the illegal immigrant community. So we're going to, you saw the stunts that were pulled. You had Ron DeSantis send them to Martha's Vineyard on a plane. And you have Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, sending immigrants to like Chicago and to a number of different cities. And so they say, hey, the undocumented immigrants are really, really straining our resources. So now we're going to have to make cuts in these other areas because we can't afford it. So we have to, prioritize here. And basically what Eric Adams is trying to do is force Biden's hand to tell him like, hey, dog, if you want us to take care of the undocumented immigrants, you need to send us federal help, more federal help. And so in a way, even though she's kind of confusing state and local politics with federal politics, she's actually correct in that they're more linked than you think. Because Biden could send funds to help with the undocumented immigrant community, and then you wouldn't have to have the budget so strained and the cuts and all the things that she's talking about. So, and I'm sure that's another reason why the right is propping it up, because you could sort of spin it as a rant against undocumented immigrants, but really it's just a rant about priorities and funding. And it is true. We had Janet Yellen say it the other day. We've had Biden say it. I mean, it's a very common, when it comes to war, there's never even a question. They're saying, yeah, we're going to fund both Ukraine and we're going to fund Israel, which, by the way, is ironic as well, because, like, if you want to make a comparison in one conflict and the other, obviously the comparison is Ukraine to Palestinians. That's the comparison. To fund Ukraine and Israel, I mean, that just makes no sense. Like, on the one side, you're funding the person who was invaded. On the other side, you're funding the invader. It's like, if you want to be consistent, you either have to support Russia and Israel or Ukraine and Palestine. But as you all know, it's not about like moral principles or who was the aggressor or who's in the right and in the wrong. No, it's more about who are our allies. And in the case of Ukraine, they're our ally over Russia. In the case of Israel, they're our ally over the Palestinians. Because, of course, the Palestinians have links to Hezbollah in Lebanon and to the Iranian government, and they're like one of our biggest enemies. And so it's not about like the moral position. But I think also that's another part of this that's frustrating to people. It's like, it's one thing if you tell me, hey, like this is truly a dire situation where we need to fund, this war, but it's not that, right? Like if you're funding Israel to do basically a genocide or ethnic cleansing, or at the very least just killing massive numbers of innocent civilians, over 7,000 kids and over 15,000 innocent civilians overall, that's bad. Like, that's not a good thing. That's actually a horrendous thing. And so, I mean, look, I totally sympathize with her, but this is the way it's always been. Guys, we just discussed it the other day. The Pentagon failed its 6th audit in a row. 6th audit in a row. They can account for 61% of their funds. It's literally over $1.5 trillion that they can't account for. Where'd that money go? Cenk made a good point on this the other day. He said, if that was any other government or agency, everybody would be flipping out and they'd be talking about, that's it, it's done. This is a fraudulent agency. We're scrapping it. It's over. Could you imagine if the Social Security Administration or the Department of Labor, oops, we lost 1.5 trillion. Tee-hee-hee. Nobody would be okay with that. Everybody would be like, this is insane. You guys are con artists. Who stole the money? But when it's the Pentagon, shh, shh, shh. So you guys all know the refrain. How are you going to pay for it? We can't afford it. Can't give people health care. Can't give people paid time off. But hey, funding Israel, funding Ukraine, increasing the military budget every single year, even though they can't account for 61% of their funding. It is what it is. What are you going to do? And it's such a broken, rotten, decrepit system. And I'm of the belief I wouldn't mind paying taxes if I knew all the money was going towards things that are reasonable. Infrastructure, taking care of people, the basics, police, fire department, etc. Of course. But we pay taxes and then we don't see dick for it. And this is kind of what her rant is here. It's like, I'm not going to endorse Biden when they're talking about, of course we can afford to fund 2 wars when New York City's getting these massive budget cuts and the federal government's not helping with the undocumented immigrants. So look, I mean, I feel for her, right? And remember, she was a big Bernie supporter. I guess when it came down to it and it was Biden versus Trump, I guess she endorsed Biden. But she seems fed up now. And look, she's indicative of there's a whole group of people now that, young people are fleeing Biden at 1,000 miles an hour. Latinos, Biden should have a 30-point lead with Latinos. He has a 4-point lead with Latinos. Arab Americans and Muslim Americans, forget it. He had 59% support in that community. Now it's down to 17%. He can't win the election like this. So look, forget turning it around in the sense that he hides his age, right? You can give him some drugs to try to hide his age or whatever, but that's a temporary fix. Like, he needs to turn it around policy-wise, too. He had a streak in the middle of his time where he was doing some decent policy stuff, and I gave him credit. I went through the policies with you guys with a fine-tooth comb and gave you all the details of it. But now he's slipping. He's slipping, and when you're losing the likes of Cardi B, I'm sorry, but this actually is indicative of a broader trend. So, anyway, the rant goes on. It's actually hilarious and funny and true, so highly recommend watching the rest of it. But based Cardi B, she's back. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.